Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the operational report for the Ukrainian offensive. So the Ukrainians have launched a relaunch their Bakhmut offensive previously, quite a number of days ago. Let me see how many days ago. Cannot even imagine, cannot even remember. Yeah, it's around 1st of May, around a week ago. The Ukrainians launched the offensive from Bodanivka, Khorivka, around the Kromove region and Ivaniske. This is the offensive while they are reinforcing Bakhmut city. So let me closer again. Bodanivka, Khorivka on the north, and then they are trying to push here at Ivaniske region. And then while they are trying to reinforce and try to hold the lines within the Bakhmut city front lines. And that offensive actually failed. So 2 days ago, the Ukrainians actually launched another offensive. This time around in the southern flank, where the Russian forces is particularly fragile. They realized that the trench lines here are quite sparse, and they launched a major offensive, combined arm offensive. It started off with artillery strike, and then the armor start to move in, and it has been successful. So as you can see, based on the terrain, you can see that the Russians probably was holding this kind of positions around here, and then they got pushed back as they rushed them with armor, and the Russian forces here kind of ran away, and they then hold the defense line along the canal, and then reinforcement came from Wagner, and into this front line to hold the line along the canal. Tentatively, this is exactly where the front line is still present, and they are currently having skirmish in this region. And this looks like a diversionary attack, because what happened was that when the Ukrainians were pushing at this area here, the Wagner forces have to redeploy forces from Bakhmut city towards this front line to hold the front, because the defenses here is very lacking. As from Prigozhin's own words, the southern flank, and I think it's from pro-Russian sources as well, the southern flank here is actually entirely Wagner defended. There is no Russian military over in this southern flank of the Bakhmut front, and only the northern flank, they are supported by the airborne forces, the Russian military units. And so as they redeploy forces, probably even from nearby, from this nearby region at Ivaniske as the Poshki region, now the Ukrainians actually, with the Russian forces gathering around the west of Klishevka, trying to hold in case of this breakthrough, because this breakthrough is going to be really bad. The Ukrainian forces can actually swing to the rear of Bakhmut, and this will cause tremendous problem for the Russian forces. So to prevent this from happening, the Russian gathered more forces down, and this is when the Ukrainians launched their real offensive, depending on how you look at it, at Bodanivka. This, and then also at the Kromove road, and in the southwestern part of Ivaniske. This action allows the Ukrainians to push back the Russian lines, and are able to further secure the vital highways that the Ukrainian forces needed to resupply the Ukrainian forces that's currently being sieged within Bakhmut city itself. So currently the offensive is probably still ongoing, and the lines broke, the Russian lines broke, and according to certain information, they say that the fall is around 600 meters, and which is actually quite a lot for a very high intensity war zone. So the fighting reported by Surya Maps mapped it around here. I think this information has not been repeated by this Deep State UA yet. Deep State UA have not revealed, because they want to protect Ukrainian operational secrecy. But such information is already widely available on pro-Russian sources. The So this is actually somewhat acknowledged by the Russian Defense Ministry already, that they mentioned that they repelled offensive towards Maliolinovka or Maliolinovka. So which is basically in this direction. So which actually acknowledged that there was actually a Ukrainian approach in this area here. Particularly important is actually this area here, where there is tremendous number of trench line where they are defending these bands on the road. Previously, this entrenchment here has been captured by the as you can see, this this trench line over in this area here, this actually controlled by the Russian side. The Russian actually controlled these trench lines. The Ukrainians actually controlled the lower ones, and now they have managed to fight and retake all these trench lines. So this is a tremendous setback for the Russian forces in this area here, because these trench lines are really hard to capture. So the Ukrainian forces may be able to continue to spread out, because as the Russian forces is being so sparse in this area, they have not enough troops in this area, means that there is a possibility that the lines behind it is also very weak. So the Ukrainians will be able to push out and actually attack into the rear towards Bakivka, into the northern part of Bakhmut. This, why do not attack in, is because you want to cut off resupply lines, the supply lines. So you want to actually go up and capture this area here. In the Paraskovyevka region, Bakivka region, Porodny region, there is no strategic value. Bakhmut city on its own actually only have strategic value if you consider the overall war, where you have the front line away from Bakhmut. But when the front line is actually at Bakhmut itself, Bakhmut on its own is just another front line. It's just another city. It doesn't serve any purpose anymore. It's used for transport, as a transport hub, but no, as a defensive position, it's not very useful. It's just a big city. So the Ukrainians don't really need to push through the center until they actually capture the flanks. And if you capture here, the Ukrainian forces can actually continue to push, break this road, and there will be an operational encirclement of the Wagner forces within the Bakhmut city. So this is why the offensive from this area here was so concerning, because this could eventually do the same thing from the west of Klishchiivka and actually cut the road as well. It's the same thing. It's the same pincer movement. So the Ukrainian forces currently is probably prioritizing relieving the Ukrainian forces within the city, because resupply is getting way too difficult. So with this counter-offensive opening up the road, they will be able to resupply through this Kromove road into Bakhmut city. This is one thing. And with the pushing of the Russian forces away in the southwestern part of Ivaniski, similarly, this road will be able to be used. And the Ivaniski road is actually a more better road. It's actually a proper highway. So this will also allow the Ukrainians to actually do their counterattack against the Russian forces that have captured the southwestern part of Bakhmut. So they can actually push through and then push back the Russian forces. Can push back the Russian forces away from this region, and this will not, even if there's no strategic value in terms of trying to fight for Bakhmut, but it will at least give them tremendous amount of PR for the Ukrainian side, and this will encourage the European side, the West, NATO forces, US, to contribute and give more to Ukraine, so that because of the increase in confidence, so maybe this offensive will allow the Ukrainians to receive F-16s, perhaps, because they have been asking for the F-16s for some time. The Ukrainian, so outside of Bakhmut, there is also another attack being reported by Russian army. There is a Ukrainian attack around between Mayosk and Ozyarinivka. So the Ukrainian forces attack in this area here. It might be a diversionary. It doesn't look like a very main battle because there's only attack by 4 armored vehicles and infantry. So basically like a company-size attack. And this attack was repelled, but this also put pressure on the Russian forces to have to secure all the other different lines, which means that the Ukrainians can actually attack from any tangent. You can attack from anywhere, and this is definitely giving a lot of defensive problems for the Russian side. And outside of that, there is fighting also reported at this area here, and then in the west of Berestove, northwest of Bilohorivka. This is being reported at the Sivas front, and then within the Serebransky forestry region in the Crimea front, the Ukrainians also launched attacks within the Serebransky forestry and around the area of Dibrova. So this also happened. So you can see that the attack, the Ukrainian offensive is definitely on already. Zelensky made a public statement saying that it's not in an interview. That is just misinformation. They're just trying to confuse everyone. There is also probing reported at Ivanivka, according to this wrong spelling by the way, Ivanivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry in Kupiansk. And previously we have a lot of probing in this area here. It seems like this is just a distraction. The main offensive, at least the biggest offensive, is still not in this region. They are still probing the lines, trying to find a weak spot, but it's going to be rather difficult. Previously that I projected that they are trying to do river crossings from Novolinsk or Kamyanka, and this, and also at Voreshna. This is also unlikely to happen now because of the tremendous number of Russian air strikes and artillery strikes on these positions. It's way too close to the Russian border, making it really difficult for the Ukrainians to actually do anything. Otherwise, within the Adivka front, this is a Russian attack. This is not Ukrainian. So Adivka front, the Ukrainians are on the defensive. So is in the Vodian. Previously, there was some probings reported at sorry, wrong color, at Volodymyrivka and Novodonetsk. This did not turn out to be anything very significant because it was not reported over the past 24 hours. Or it could be something happened, but it's overshadowed by everything that's happened over at the Bakhmut front. The Ukrainian forces still have not acted in the Zaporizhia region. There is a tremendous gathering of Ukrainian forces in the front line around at Zaporizhia front. And there's also a lot of pro-Russian rumors about Ukrainian forces preparing to do amphibious landing around the Dnieper River. It's unclear what they're going to do. There's rumors that the forces around the Kherson region is up to 36,000 troops. And however, this 36,000 troops is lacking in heavy equipment. They are more armed with artillery and drones. So it could be this 36,000 is just to hold a defensive line. They have a lot of boats, but these are not landing ships. These are more like speedboats type of boats, and they could do recon sabotage or commando raids within the Russian lines to keep the Russians on their toes within this region here. This could be possible, and then they're going to use artillery. They actually use airstrike with the Sukhoi 25 getting shot down over Shevardin Mayat over the past 24 hours. This shows that the Ukrainians are continuing to do some operations within this area here. So anyway, this is the operational report regarding the Ukrainian operations in the Ukraine war. And do press the like button, subscribe. And if you want the reports in terms of the war reporting, go to the DPA War channel. In this main channel, I will be talking about operational reports. There will be a lot more in terms of analysis of the decisions being made and frontline actions and projection of what is actually happening. Anyway, thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe if you are not subscribed. I know 50% of you, at least 50% of you watching never subscribe. Press the subscribe button, and this will allow YouTube to push this to other people who have never seen all these reports before. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.